Hello everyone, this is part 12 of What If Naruto Was Madara's Brother, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Mikoto as well as the rest of the Kan's guards stared at their leader who was seated in a corner sharpening his twin swords. There was not an ounce of emotion present on Naruto's face and his gaze was solely fixed on the weapons he would be carrying into battle. A battle against his own brother. Everyone knew how much Naruto loved his brother, but to think those same brothers would be at each other's tea in a matter of minutes. Naruto, it's still not too late, advised Kagami. It's a deathmatch, warned Takeshi worriedly. You're strong, but Madara is more powerful than you. Lord Commander, your brother will use more than swords against you, cautioned Itachi. At that, Naruto finally looked up and saw the fear ever present in their eyes. I am not my brother no matter what the law says, he promised. So you want to instead? Asked Mikoto furiously, making him smile. I never said that, he pointed. Are you not afraid? Asked Mikoto worriedly, and was relieved when it made him pause. She watched him stare at his twin swords and even if he was the finest swordsman she had ever seen, her heart feared for his life. He finally got up on his feet and walked towards them. Dressed in his golden armor with twin fine swords at his sides, he was a formidable opponent to glance at. But the one he was going up against was just as good, if not better. Stopping before his friends, he stared at them seriously. Every man is afraid before going into battle. I am no different, confessed Naruto. If it looks like you're in trouble, call for us. We will answer, promised Shisui, placing a hand on his friend's shoulder making Naruto smile. They all were still amazed that in a matter of 2 hours all the preparations had been made. The Yamanakas had an old training ground in the forest that would serve as the battlefield for the upcoming combat. Almost every person was going to be there, a conflict which could possibly be remembered for 1,000 years. Just like Indra and Ashura's was till this day. Not only were the two fighters the strongest Uchiha of their generation but also the finest warriors of the world. They were also the only Sharingan wielders the Uchiha had ever produced in hundreds of years. Ever since the Sharingan was awakened and the two brothers continued their exploits over the years, it was always a point of contention as to who was stronger among them. Madara had many victories to his name, the most notable being defeating the entire Aburame clan in single combat on his own. While Naruto was proclaimed to be the finest swordsman of this generation of ninja warriors. He defeated the Fuma clan in single combat with his fox, and was also responsible for victories against the Senju and Yamanaka clans. If I fall, then you all shall pledge your loyalty to my brother. Promise me, he insisted. And if you win? Asked Itachi calmly, much to the relief of the others because they could not have given Naruto that promise. Certainly not if Madara K him today. Then seize the elders and all who try to stop you, he instructed, earning nods from his friends. He saw Mikoto was resisting the urge to grab him and not let go, but he discreetly pointed her towards her brother's presence which made her reluctantly back down. With one final parting, he departed from the room and saw Kurama waiting for him outside. You ready? Asked the fox nonchalantly. As ready as I can ever be for something like this, replied Naruto calmly. Kurama despite the situation gave him an amused grin. Then go out there and kick his ordered the fox. So sure I can win? Asked Naruto amusedly, a smile arriving at his lips. Yes. Naruto gave a respectful nod at the faith his friend was placing him in. Kurama had even offered to fight alongside him, but he had refused. Not only was it against the rules, but Naruto wanted to fight his brother himself. All his life he had followed in Madara's shadow, now was the time to step out of it and become the man Shizuka had suggested him to be. With that determination, he walked away ready to face the most important battle of his life. Stands. Tajima and Naori were seated in an elevated stand specifically built for the clan heads and important nobles. The rest of their clansmen and civilians had taken position across the field, while a few Yamanaka guards had erected a barrier dome that would prevent any attacks from hitting the audience and bar anyone from disrupting the match. Around Tajima sat all the clan heads of every allied clan, including the likes of Tsukumo Hatake, Shin Aburame, Sako Kurama, Rei Namikaze, and many more. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Madara's form standing inside the barrier. Tajima glanced at his eldest son dressed in bronze armor, carrying his traditional gunbai on his back and a sword on his hip. He looked fierce and dangerous. And then the other side of the barrier opened as a figure walked in. Naori didn't miss the various clan heads staring in surprise and even awe as they saw the young dragon in all his glory. Dressed in his familiar golden armor bearing the mark of a roaring dragon on his sea and the Uchiha symbol on his back. Twin swords rested on his hips and a dark black cloak fluttered behind him as he walked. His usual masked face was today open for everyone to see. She didn't miss Tajima staring at his youngest son quite intently as if he saw something he had never seen before. Naori couldn't blame him. While Madara looked dangerous and fierce, Naruto looked calm and there was something regal about him. Maybe it was his shining armor or his composed face, it made him glow. Most of all, it was the way he walked that made it clear that he was not afraid of facing his opponent. There was a loud cheer from the civilian and many Uchihas even, much to Tajima and the elders' surprise. Apparently, those people had not forgotten what Naruto had risked and to save their lives. Even a few Yamanaka rooted for him, albeit in a reserved manner, while the Hatake were quite open in their support. Their clan and most ninjas might hate the boy, however Naori knew for a fact that across the civilian population of the Land of Fire her nephew was quite popular. It might be because of the fact that whenever he was free over the past decade, he would defend every civilian who asked for his aid against bandits, rogue ninjas or thieves. Most of all, he never took a single charge for his services. Among those poor and impoverished families who had no say in the politics of great clans but suffered all the same, Naruto Uchiha was a breath of fresh air. For them he was like the samurai from the old days who fought with honor and defended the weak. Despite all that had happened in his life, Naruto still tried to live his life by performing his duty not just to his clan but innocents alike with honor and dedication. My, he's quite handsome, commented Rei Namikaze cheerfully, the young clan heiress staring at Naruto with quite a lustful look in her eye. Maybe, but his brother can pummel him and his shining armor easily, said Sako Kurama skeptically. Naori smirked but kept her silence at that last statement. She didn't know the outcome of this fight, but she did know two things. The first being the fact that neither of these two boys were going to KO each other despite popular expectation. Second, they were all in for quite a surprise. Arena. Naruto stepped before his elder brother who nodded at him respectfully, even so Madara's reluctance for the upcoming battle was clear to see. Naruto on the other hand was determined to prove himself. Brother, greeted Madara. You ready? Asked Naruto calmly, making Madara sigh. It's still not too late, brother. Bend the knee and let the trial happen, we'll squash it easily just like before, promised Madara sincerely. For a moment he was so sure Naruto would do so, instead his brother smiled at him. My knees do not bend easily, Madara. Those words had said all Madara needed to learn. If that was not enough, the ironclad determination in Naruto's eyes was enough to make him see the boy was not going to back down. Very well, relented Madara, earning a smile from Naruto. I wish you good luck, Madara. It earned a sly grin from the elder Uchiha as his right hand gripped the hilt of his sword, while the left grasped the gunbai on his back. Before Madara could even unleash his weapons, in the blink of an eye Naruto's hands grasped the hilts of his swords and a second later the shining weapons were unleashed for all to see. And so was Naruto's Sharingan as all playfulness disappeared from his eyes. Now it begins, proposed Naruto calmly. Madara closed his eyes releasing a final sigh before he unleashed his own weapons, and when he opened his eyes again they stared back at his brother with a fully evolved Sharingan that displayed nothing but determination and confidence. Now it ends, little brother, promised Madara. The next second 2K auras engulfed the entire forest. Stands. The clan heads flinched when the monstrosity that was the K intent was unleashed by the brothers. It was so thick that it felt as if the air itself was made to bow before them. Dozens of civilians already fell unconscious and so did the weaker ninjas, even the stronger ones felt quite uncomfortable in the presence of that power. Naori did not miss Tajima brim with pride on seeing the effect his sons had, and the match had only just begun. Their allies who were previously considering the two as boys now realized they were grown men instead. Madara's K intent was like a raging tsunami threatening to consume everyone and everything that came in its way. Naori found it quite fitting. On the other hand, Naruto's K intent was completely focused like a sword. Strong, precise and What surprised her and everyone else was the fact that Naruto was being able to match his brother's power. Even Madara seemed surprised. Naori had always known Madara was a powerhouse, but if the account of the Konosuba members were to be considered, Naruto had not yet unleashed his full power in any battles till now. She had a feeling that claim was about to be laid to rest. So this is the young dragon, commented Shin Aburame quietly. It remains to be seen whether Pretty Boy can match up in skill and quick thinking, advised Shimura Tobi coldly. While the Shimura clan had always been the most loyal bannermen of the Uchiha, their ruthlessness was greater than those of the dragon descendants. Indeed, agreed the other clan heads, earning reluctant nod from the Uchiha elders. Naori could not help but smirk on seeing those fools losing some of that overconfidence now that they realized Naruto was no longer the weak boy anymore. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw movement that caught her attention. Naruto's most loyal and trusted friend discreetly stepped towards the stands. Shisui's face did not betray any emotions, but Naori did not miss the fact that he was fully armed and armored. So was the rest of the Konosuba, and they all specifically took positions near the seats of the Uchiha elders. The elders actually looked quite relieved on seeing Shisui's presence. Just like them, Shisui belonged from an important Uchiha noble family, and while his father did not sit on the elders' council, he did wield quite a lot of influence. More than that, Shisui was the second most skilled swordsman in the Konosuba, according to some even in the Land of Fire. The Morning Star. It was the name bestowed on Shisui after he repeatedly helped Naruto defend the civilians of the Land of Fire from those who wished to harm them. He carried with him the ancestral sword of his family, Fury. And he was considered the most noble, honorable and chivalrous member of the Konosuba. Now that Naori thought about it, each of the Konosuba had earned famous names for themselves after their exploits with Naruto over the past decade. Takeshi, the Defiant, for his wild and fierce nature. He was also the most stubborn and hot-headed member of the Konosuba who always refused to accept defeat under any circumstances. Itachi, the Silent Shadow, for his unflinching loyalty and uncanny ability to remain by Naruto's side most of the time. Kagami, the Gallant, for his unwavering courage to face his enemies no matter how outnumbered or outgunned. It was said no man including Naruto himself could match Kagami's taijutsu prowess. Mikoto, the Dark Sister, some claimed the name was bestowed on the girl for her dark raven locks and smoldering looks. Others said it was because of the fact that Naruto cared for her as the sister he never had in his life, but Naori knew that was not the case. Even if her nephew tried to hide it, Naori knew there was something primal existing between the boy and Mikoto. The daughter of a common servant, Mikoto and her brother Takeshi were raised as warriors by Naruto himself. They both were quite fine swordsmen and utterly loyal to Naruto till the end. Shisui, the Morning Star, a brother to Naruto in all but B. The closest warrior who could claim to match Naruto's swordsmanship and the one whom Naruto trusted most. The Konosuba was actually quite respected by allies and foes alike, for they were the strongest Uchihas of their generation. The only thing that kept them from becoming legendary in the clan was their loyalty to Naruto, who was despised. But never had that fact bothered any of them. They are all good men and women. Loyal and courageous. Naori could not help but brim with pride on knowing that Naruto had gained their loyalty on his own merit and with his kindness. While Madara was loved by the entire clan, Naori had a feeling the support and love of these five was everything Naruto could ask for. And they were here for him. Arena. Naruto watched his brother chuckle as a dark grin arrived on his face on seeing Naruto actually able to match his power. It was a well-known fact that Madara loved battles to the point that he lived for them. But usually, there were barely a handful warriors who could match Madara's powers and expectations. Hashirama Senju was the best, and it was why Madara never missed any chance to fight his former friend. For over a decade, Madara had heard tales of his brother's exploits and skills. Now, he could see the first signs of the fact that those tales were not exaggerated. He made a hand seal creating 5 identical shadow clones, all of them wielding a sword and a gunbai. Wordlessly, they all charged towards Naruto. Madara saw his brother neither smiled or tensed, he simply raised his swords, coating them in chakra. The look in his eyes was enough to wipe out Madara's excitement a little, to be replaced by caution. He watched Naruto move both his swords in opposite horizontal S in open air. Madara frowned. Had his brother lost his mind, or was this some sort of joke? His eyes, however, widened when each and every one of his shadow clones were shredded before his eyes. It was as if they were struck by the air itself and simply vanished. But Madara had seen the real truth with his Sharingan. Those swords, he used them to manipulate wind chakra itself. For the first time, Madara realized this battle would not be so easy after all. Watching his brother rotate those common swords in his hands made him pause. If Naruto was this S with them, then Madara could only imagine his brother's power if he had Dawn in his hands right now. Many said his brother was the finest swordsman of their world. Madara wanted to see the fact by pitting his clones against his brother. Naruto had given his answer to that insult by tearing those clones apart before they could reach anywhere near him. Madara finally stepped forward himself and grasped his weapons. Genjutsu was not an option in this fight, since they both had the Sharingan, which could neutralize or see through any deceptions of that kind. It was purely a match of power without OFS skill. Madara took in a deep breath before unleashing a massive stream of fire towards his brother. With his left hand, he swinged his gun by adding a large amount of wind that channeled the flames far and wide. Naruto quickly s one of his swords in the ground, and the next second water erupted from the soil like a tornado, clashing straight into the path of the raging flames. Before Madara could plan on his next move, his Sharingan reacted and he moved just in time as a dangerous bolt of lightning tore through the raging fire and water attacks, going directly for him. If not for his Sharingan and quick reflexes, he would have been E. He had to keep on moving and dodging as more and more lightning bolts tried to strike him. The initial attack of fire he had launched was now consumed by the water, and there was a healthy amount of that liquid now present in the arena. Knowing his brother and his affinity with water, Madara knew he had to stay well clear from the substance, for Naruto could use it to attack and defend at the same time. Deciding to take the fight directly to the boy, Madara charged forward. More and more lightning bolts tried to strike him, but they were too slow as Madara evaded them with ease and soon enough reached the attacker himself. Realizing the danger, Naruto immediately brought his twin swords forward. Madara grinned as he again s his gun by sending a lethal wind wave that would have torn the armor and clothing of any other warrior, thereby giving them grave wounds. Instead, Naruto adjusted his footing, and his golden armor that was gifted by Madara himself protected him from the attack quite easily, much to Madara's frustration. Still, he did not lose heart and attacked his brother. The first time Madara's sword made contact with Naruto's, his brother pretended to push for control, making Madara dig in his feet firmly, only to have Naruto twist himself to the right side, bringing his other sword right towards Madara's ribs. Only the intervention of the gunby at the last second stopped that attack, but nonetheless the weapon was destroyed. Madara quickly jumped away, creating some distance from his opponent, and glanced at him warily. Those swords of his were heavy, and yet Naruto moved so quickly without any effort. It was a display of pure skill. More than that, he almost managed to fool Madara. "You're good," praised Madara. "I'm just getting started." And then Naruto attacked. Stands. Tajima had never once in his life seen Madara being pushed back so fiercely by anyone other than Hashirama Senju. Yet his experienced eyes were showing him the difference quite clearly. He watched Madara roar before charging in with full force. His eldest son brought down the full power of his weapon as bright sparks flew. Madara first tried to get a swipe at Naruto's C, only to be easily blocked by the other Uchiha's blade. Naruto used that S to take a swipe of his own at Madara, which was swiftly blocked by Madara's metal-protected arm. Naruto smirked. The sword which the younger boy had in AS with Madara's own blade pushed. Madara had to again brace himself, as he now had to keep two swords at bay, which left another opening in his stance. Naruto's right leg twisted forward instantly and S itself around Madara's ankle. Before Madara could wrench it free, it was twisted, making the older Uchiha wince, and that momentary bout of pain allowed Naruto to smack his sword brutally across Madara's C-plate, leaving a nasty dent. Madara had no choice but to again create some distance between them. "He's better than Madara," said Shin Aburame in surprise. "Far better," praised Naori proudly with a smile. Tajima knew his eldest son enough to know that Madara was not one to back down from a worthy challenger. And Naruto had just provoked the dragon inside the elder boy. Madara's hands flew through a rapid set of hand seals which made Tajima tense, for he knew this move. Fire style, Great Fire Annihilation. A wave of fire was unleashed from Madara's mouth which spanned the entire area of the arena and even high enough to reach the ceiling. There was no place left to hide from this attack, leaving Naruto no choice but to counter. He has larger chakra reserves which he wants to use to tire out his brother, deduced Shinabarame, proving his tactical prowess. He could personally attest to the fact that Madara had monstrous chakra reserves, a fact he clearly displayed when he defeated Shin and his entire clan alone. How thoughtful of Madara. I have never seen him think so much in a fight before, commented Toby Shimura. His opponent is not someone who relies on brute strength. He is faster, sharper, and more cunning. As long as Naruto has a sword in his hand, I doubt Madara can win. Better to tire out the boy before finishing him off, a sound tactic, agreed Rei Namikaze, receiving consenting nods from the other clan heads. Naori didn't made her opinion known, a fact which was not missed by Tajima. Knowing how close she was to Naruto, he had a feeling she would have defended her favorite nephew. Instead, she remained silent and stared knowingly at Naruto, making Tajima glance at his youngest child. He watched Naruto start rotating his twin swords at unbelievable speeds, and to his surprise the lake of water that was previously created by the boy had its water now being drawn towards those swords. Clearly the boy had planned his move quite ahead, knowing Madara would overwhelm him with superior power. Now, the water had taken the form of churning tornado that was swirling around Naruto's swords. It was a sheer testament to his control over water style that not only he was controlling so much of that liquid but had actually managed to give it a shape, binding it around his swords, that too in the face of an incoming massive fire tsunami attack. So, this is the famous young dragon, thought Tajima. Despite the differences, even Tajima could not deny that Naruto was highly skilled not just with kenjutsu but also ninjutsu. The fire tsunami was now a few feet away from him, and the boy brought his swords forward, bringing with them the churning tornado of water. Tajima knew that the water attack was not enough to defeat Madara's powerful jutsu, but it was enough to create a small enough hole which Naruto used to pass through the fire. The boy kept on rotating his swords, making the tornado of water act as a shield against the raging fire, and when he was clear of the attack arena, Naruto brought his swords forward, unleashing those two tornadoes straight at a stunned Madara. Water style, Twin Dragons. In a second, the tornado changed form to take the shape of two massive water dragons that charged madly towards Madara. Acting on his feet, the elder Uchiha quickly performed a set of hand seals and S on the ground. Earth style, Earth Wall. The water dragons crashed against the giant wall with full force, but it didn't crack because Madara had placed quite a lot of chakra to keep it strong and firm. Combine that with the fact that earth trumped water, the dragons were vanquished and broke apart. But they had given Naruto the time he needed. Madara grimaced when he saw two chakra-coated blades S his earthen wall cleanly. Already it was weakened by fending off the water dragons, leaving them powerless against the force that was Naruto. And now his brother had what he wanted. Close combat. Madara raised his sword as his brother approached towards him and was alarmed when Naruto grinned. Surprise. Bolts of lightning shot out of his swords instantly, and being in close proximity left Madara little room to maneuver. He bit back his scream as lightning coursed through his body, paralyzing quite a few chakra nodes. You want to take my chakra reserves away from me, brother? Madara had fought many opponents, including Hashirama himself. But this was the first time he came across a warrior like his brother. Madara was used to fighting full-blown battles where power was everything and that he had in spades. Even Hashirama fought him quite openly. But Naruto was not allowing that. His brother still fought fairly without the aid of trickery, but he refused to be bulled down in a power battle against Madara. Instead, the boy had his own fighting style which was far more refined and precise. A fact Madara had to begrudgingly acknowledge as he raised his sword, enduring the shock his body just suffered, because his brother pressed forward. Madara's nerves were still recovering from the brutal shock, leaving him slow in his defense. Naruto exploited that weakness fully. Madara parried a blow aimed at his armpits only to have to react more quickly to stop another blow aimed for his N. In between he had to be wary of Naruto attacking him with his feet. The only thing keeping Madara standing was the raw force of his attacks that protected him and denied his brother any gains. Still, Naruto didn't relent because he knew sooner or later there would come an opening. So, he pushed and pushed, making Madara fall back and back. Oblivious to their surroundings, the two brothers failed to recognize the shock of the crowd and that of the clan heads. To their surprise and prior expectations of Madara winning the fight easily, the elder Uchiha was actually being pushed back to the point where he was pouring in every ounce of his power. Naruto, on the other hand, was yet to make any major gains in the fight, but he was patient and focused. As time went on, his attacks became even more precise and too fast to deflect. The increasing number of -C on Madara's body are proof of that. The boys were at a stalemate, until Naruto furiously brought down his twin swords right above Madara's head, making the elder Uchiha raise his own sword. Madara winced and sank down to one knee from the force of his brother's attack, and while he managed to save his head, it left him wide open for a solid kick that connected right across his face. Madara's pain made his grip on his sword falter, and Naruto used that moment to break through that defense, carving through his brother's armor like a knife through brother. Blood erupted and splattered across his golden armor as Madara was sent crashing away. Most would have thought this to be the end, but Naruto knew how strong his brother was. More than that, Madara was a stubborn and prideful man, so he quickly moved forward to gain advantage. He realized his mistake when Madara twisted himself so that his legs entwined with Naruto's, and he made Naruto regret the mistake by toppling him flat across the ground. Naruto was too slow to react as Madara grabbed a kunai from his pouch before plunging it deep into Naruto's thigh. They both then scrambled away from each other and looked at each other. Madara was sporting a busted lip and a swollen eye along with the -C across his body. The man's armor was destroyed, leaving him in nothing but his clan battle attire. While Naruto was bleeding heavily from his thigh and he could feel his ankle was twisted. Plus all that amount of chakra concentration had given him a mild headache. Still, they both grinned at each other as if some personal joke had passed between them. Until Naruto's grin disappeared to be replaced by a glare. One which Madara masked with his own. And that was when all hell broke loose. Stands. Everyone, including the crowd, ninjas, civilians, clan heads, and Uchiha elders alike, were stunned when the barrier suddenly disappeared as the Yamanaka maintaining it backed away. And then they all saw the cold fury in Naruto's eyes. Before anybody could react, the Konosuba saw their leader give the nod they were waiting for, and without wasting a second they moved in. The Uchiha elders gasped and screamed when they were forcefully seized by the fully armed and armored Konosuba. Because they had not expected a fight, none of them came armed, which left them completely open to be captured. Tajima-sama, what is the meaning of this? Yelled Hotaru furiously, only to have the clan head not even look at her. Naori-sama, order them to unhand us this moment, demanded Atami Uchiha, but Naori simply sipped her wine with a cold smirk. By now the three elders were in full-blown panic and the crowd was too stunned. It was then Naruto and Madara approached the stands and went towards the three elders. There were a few more of the elders who had fortunately either in battles or through natural cause during the past decade. Naruto was thankful for that because one of the elders had been Itachi's father, but the man was long since much to his relief. But these three had always demanded his head. When he stepped before them, his eyes were as cold as the winter ice and as furious as the blazing fire. He doubted Madara looked any different. My father taught me it is treason to raise your sword against your liege lord and his family, said Naruto darkly. And you abused your power to wrongfully frame my brother, my family, declared Madara M. Ayato Uchiha, the cripple, snarled at that accusation and looked at Naruto furiously. He handed our clan's most prized heirloom on a silver platter to the Senjus. He deserved to be punished, snarled the old man. And it got us victory against the Senju despite the heavy odds. It saved the lives of all these Hatake and Yamanaka here, or is the Uchiha pride more important than the lives of our own clansmen and allies alike? Demanded Madara harshly. The elders glanced at the said people and saw for the first time the hate and bitterness in their eyes for the decision to accuse Naruto. Madara then glanced at the other clan heads and saw even they were quite relieved that Naruto chose to save lives rather than protect his clan's pride. It could have been any of their own people instead of the Hatake or Yamanaka, and knowing Naruto would place their lives above his pride was an assurance they would definitely need if they were to remain loyal to the Uchiha and fight for them. Unfortunately, the elders had a few points left to say. Maybe, but Naruto Uchiha is not a part of your family. He's just a common fighter of our clan who is forbidden from any lands, family or even succeeding your father. Tajima-sama himself banished him and we are not going against our liege lord by accusing someone who is not his family anymore, pointed Hotaru Uchiha confidently. Her shock was now replaced by a smug smile and she moved to look at Tajima for the confirmation. Gods knew the old man hated his youngest son which had made them make this move in the first place. In her ignorance she missed the rage that arrived in Madara and Naori's eyes on that remark. I don't remember giving such an order, said Tajima calmly, ignoring the shocked and betrayed looks of the elders and the smug grins of his sons and his sister. But you, spluttered Hotaru in horror, and flinched when Tajima's eyes glared down at her. Is there any proof, any written document that proves that I actually gave the order? Asked Tajima, as he got up from his chair and walked towards his sons before placing his hands on their shoulders. It's your word against our fathers. And frankly your word means S to me. If anybody has any objections speak now, commanded Madara, glaring right at the clan heads and all Uchihas in the area. He smirked when they all quickly nodded their support, adding the final nail in the coffin. Madara doubted after that match and seeing what he and his brother were capable of, these allies would risk their end for 3 old Uchiha with grudges. You tricked us, accused all 3 elders in unison, glaring at Tajima. Naruto saw the pure fury that arrived in his father's eyes and winced as Tajima's hand on his shoulder became rock solid. He is my son, thundered Tajima, making nearly every person in the area flinch. The Uchiha clan head turned towards them all and looked them all right in the eye. Today, before you all I confirm again that Naruto Uchiha is my son, my heir, and your liege lord should Madara and I both fall. At first heavy silence prevailed in the air before Tobi Shimura got up from his chair. Naruto tensed when the man unleashed his sword. It was a known fact that the Shimura clan was their most loyal ally and they proved that again when Tobi knelt and placed his sword at Naruto's feet. The young dragon. All the Shimura clan fighters were quick to follow their leader as they too knelt and pledged their swords. Following him soon enough were the Namikas, Hitaki, Yamanaka, Kurama, Aburame, and Yuhi clan heads along with all their fighters. Naori joined her brother and her nephews as the entire area erupted with a fierce cry. The young dragon! The young dragon! The young dragon! Madara couldn't help but smile widely on seeing the sight before his very eyes. More than that, he was happy to witness the moment when their father raised Naruto's hand acknowledging the fealty of their allies even as a lone tear slipped from Naruto's eyes. Naori saw for her family united for the first time in nearly a decade. Watching Tajima standing there flanked by his sons and their allies standing united now more than ever was not something she would ever forget. Nor could she ever forget just how her brother had pulled this master plan off. Few hours earlier, Tajima sat in the solar of the former Yamanaka head ignoring his sister restlessly pacing across the room. She had tried everything from pleading to threatening him to call off the battle that was about to happen. Yet he had simply listened without saying another word and let her rant. But he did raise an eyebrow when the door of the solar was bashed open and Madara walked in, followed by an equally determined but reserved Naruto. Took their time, thought Tajima amusedly. Tajima got up from his chair wordlessly and walked towards his sons. He stepped before them both and looked at them closely. In Madara, he saw himself, only more fiercer and bolder. And in Naruto, he saw his wife. Her fire, her beauty, her power and his own cunning. Naori gasped in shock when Tajima moved forward and engulfed both his sons in a fierce embrace. She had never in her life seen her brother display so much emotion after his wife's. Even the 2 boys were stunned. When Tajima finally broke the hug, he smiled on seeing the gaping faces of his sons. Ignoring his eldest, he stepped before his youngest and grasped his cheeks gently. There were so many emotions passing through the boy's heart: anger, betrayal, determination and his ever-present sadness. I am proud of you, my son. Naruto staggered on hearing those words from this man. Was this a dream or was he seeing true pride for him in his father's eyes? What? Snapped Naruto, making Tajima chuckle, which further stunned his family. I told you once that I would make this right. I keep my promises, just like you keep yours, advised Tajima. By pitting us brothers against each other. Father, you're almost on the verge of tearing this family apart, yelled Madara furiously, but was further shocked when Tajima didn't even glance at him. Instead, His father was intently looking at Naruto and the boy was staring right back. Even Naori didn't know what was going on, but she had a feeling there was something to this which only Tajima and Naruto knew anything about. For the sake of my mother, I give you 5 minutes. Come clean, or I promise to tear this clan apart, for I will not stand against these injustices anymore, warned Naruto, yet Tajima smiled nostalgically at him. You've grown into a man. Naruto fought back the wave of joy that wanted to overwhelm his heart on seeing and hearing his father praise him. Despite all their bitterness, all his life he had craved for this. To be acknowledged just like his brothers had, to be looked at the same way as Tajima did with Madara. You did all I asked of you. You defended this clan and our allies against our enemies, you got me the alliance of 2 great and ancient noble clans. You turned a bitter defeat into an impossible victory, that is more than I could ever ask from you, explained Tajima honestly. But you just accused me of losing Dawn, replied Naruto frostily. What he heard next would be something he would never forget for the rest of his life. F the sword. The boys stared at him as if he had lost all senses, and Tajima couldn't blame them. His actions, and most of all his silence all these years, had sent quite the opposite message than the one he was saying now. Even Naori could not understand what he had been up to the past 10 years. You're angry with me, stated Tajima, and his youngest son never flinched at that statement. I am. With reason, admitted Tajima. He didn't even bat an eye when Naruto growled before grabbing his shoulders and brutally him against the wall. Madara and Naori moved to intervene, but Tajima stopped them by shaking his head. Instead he stared in those Sharingan eyes and could feel the sea of anger in the boy's heart. Why? That one word was laced with so much pain that it threatened to choke Tajima's breath, but he steeled himself knowing this day was long coming. To protect you, he confessed. Naruto didn't hesitate as he forced his Sharingan to through his father's mind. He was not gentle and through the initial memories in search of what he was looking for, the days after he left the Uchiha and his father behind to serve his punishment. And what he saw made his heart stop. He saw memories of his father staving off the elders' demand for Naruto every month. He saw Tajima putting down 3 minor rebellions in the clan before they even acted. He saw Tajima's trusted aide choke on his own B&S before the clan head as he tasted the food before Tajima did. He saw Tajima watching from the shadows as the elders and lesser noble families plotted against him and his entire family. It was no secret that were many powerful families who wanted to depose Naruto's own family from leadership. That movement had certainly increased tenfold after he earned the name K. And they were getting bolder and bolder. He saw his father repeatedly checking the messengers and summoning creatures when they delivered his messages from Naori and Naruto. Despite all the victories, Tajima never showed any appreciation in public or risk aggravating the rebels further, but he also saw the old man smiling and gingerly caressing those letters. He saw the meeting when the elders finally called the motion to demand a trial for Naruto losing Dawn, and while Tajima had no way to oppose, Naruto felt the mad fury that overtook his father's heart. Yet he remained silent, but the hatred in his heart was insatiable now. He finally moved out of his father's mind and saw the man staring at him with sadness and guilt present in his eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Whispered Naruto. It's a father's responsibility to protect his children. Not the other way around, admonished Tajima, but not unkindly. What are you two talking about? Asked Madara irritatedly. Naori came forward and laid a hand on her brother's shoulder, staring at him pleading eyes. What have you kept hidden from me, brother? Naruto clenched his fists as he tried to accept what he just saw. Those vultures had been circling his family all this time. At first they tried to take them down from the shadows, and when that didn't work they were now coming out in open rebellion. And his father had battled against them all, surviving rebellions, plotting and whatnot. What hurt more was the man had to do it all alone while his family remained oblivious. But then again, Tajima was never one to show weakness to anyone, even to his own family. Staring at his brother and aunt, Naruto knew he had to tell them what he saw. And he did just that. When he finished, the madness that came in Madara's eyes and the anger in Naori's eyes scared him. They wanted B. Those bastards. I'll K them all, roared Madara, turning around to march down and K every last one of them. Then there will be 2K instead of 1, brother, warned Naruto. You want us to do nothing? Asked Naori angrily, but still looked more in control than Madara, who was on the verge of an entire village. Naruto silently walked towards the lone window in the room and stared at the Yamanaka settlement. Thinking about what his father had faced all these years made him shudder. Never in his wildest dreams had he imagined things were so bad at home. To think, there was an open rebellion going on in the shadows in his clan for almost a decade. He glanced at his father and could not help but wonder how he handled this calamity all this time on his own. No one knew the truth, not their enemies, allies, or even their own family until the elders decided to come out in the open. This is not about Dawn. It's about me, about us, whispered Naruto. They want to bring us all down, realized Naori. If I had showed you my affection and pride in any form, then we would be having a full-blown civil war which would leave us broken. Then the Senjus would just have to pick up the pieces and finish us off. I didn't remain in contact because I was being watched. I tried everything to solve this mess but they want us gone, confessed Tajima. Madara s his hands against the table splitting it open. 1,000 generations have defended this family. It has never fallen before, nor will I allow it to fall now, promised Madara. Neither will I, promised Naruto. They expect one of you to s in battle. Whoever survives will resent Tajima and they want to use that hate to overthrow your father. When he and I both are in our graves, they would turn again and see our last family member s as well. Then they'll have the entire clan in the grasp, said Naori bitterly. That will not happen. Naruto couldn't help but admire the strength of his father. Even after all these years he was still so strong and formidable. It took him this long to realize, but Tajima had always been the rock of their family. He was not kind, caring or gentle. But he was strong, determined, ruthless and cunning. It were these traits that had kept them all alive till now. You could have refuted this trial, but you didn't. Majority of our allies are here, you want us brothers to show them our power and gather support. And then the elders, said Naruto, realizing his father's true intentions. And then we will kill them all, promised Tajima coldly. Naruto was left speechless. He had always imagined himself to be a little cunning, but his father was better than him. Neither Madara or Naruto himself had the patience or foresight to orchestrate a plan that took a decade while battling all those challenges that Tajima faced silently without complaining to anyone. It made him feel insignificant and small for while he was hurt over his father's ignorance of him, the man was busy trying to save their family from enemies that threatened to destroy it. They have showed the defiance openly now. If Naruto wins, then he'll be the next clan head. Same goes for Madara if he wins, you both are feared and respected by our allies. When they see you in action along with the entire clan, there won't be much resistance left when we move against the elders, suggested Naruto. I don't want the la. Spoke both Naruto and Madara at the same time. Tajima and Naori glanced at each other knowingly before looking at the two determined boys again. What are our words? Asked Tajima seriously, and was proud of the cold smiles that arrived on the faces of his sons. Fire and be. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.